Today, we're spilling the tea on Crafty-ish Kristyn. Because if I don't say something, who will? Let's begin. You know, sometimes being quiet feels like the right thing to do. And sometimes you may even tell yourself, it's just not worth it, nobody else's business, just get past it, move along. And for a long time, that's exactly what I tried to do. I've tried to ignore it. I've tried to convince myself it wasn't really happening. I've even told myself, like, maybe you're overreacting, maybe you're reading too much into things, maybe it's all just a big coincidence. But then it just kept happening. Again and again and again, until eventually I reached the point where we're at right now, where I'm like, this needs to be documented. So like I said, today we're going to be spilling the tea on Crafty-ish Kristyn. She knows what she's done, and now you will too. Let's just dive right in, shall we, friends? Let's. Okay, so I'm going to present this to you as like evidence pieces. Exhibit A. Everybody likes receipts and stuff and whatnot. So here we go. Exhibit A. First, this woman, she sleeps at night. I know. Take a minute. Because I had to. Because honestly, I wasn't prepared for that revelation either. Now, some of you are probably thinking, Mushy, come on, people sleep at night. But do they? Do they really? Because I don't. 12 a.m., I'm just getting warmed up, baby. 1 o'clock, my brain's firing on all cylinders. All of them. 2 a.m., I've solved at least 3 problems that didn't exist before. By 3 a.m., I've convinced myself I need more diamond paintings. By 4 a.m., I am redesigning my entire craft room in my head. And by 5 a.m., I'm questioning every life decision I've ever made while adding snacks to an online grocery cart. Or Temu. And, that's perfectly reasonable to me. That is a reasonable schedule. But for Kristyn? Oh, nay, my friends. By 10:30 p.m., she's gone. Just poof. Gone. Asleep. Like she has somewhere to be in the morning, or like she's a functioning member of society. Honestly, you know what? Who does she think she is? I've sent this woman messages at 2:30 in the morning. Nothing. No response. 3:15. Nothing. 4:07 a.m. Still nothing. And I guess this is apparently because she values things like sleep, health, being well adjusted and rested. I can't relate. I just can't relate. Now, before anybody, thinks that this is an isolated incident, it's not. This is a pattern of behavior. And that's why I've started a file. Yes, a dossier, if you will, on Crafty-ish Kristyn, where I'm collecting all little tidbits of information about her just like this. It all starts right here. The Kristyn file. Now, admittedly, most of the file is like, it's a folder with empty notebook paper. But that's not important. Don't dwell on that. That's not the important thing here. It's the principle of the matter. Because every time something happens, I'm going to add another blank piece of paper to that file. Yes. So, sleeping at night, Exhibit A, we have divulged. You now know that Kristyn is a night sleeper. A dirty, dirty night sleeper. And I know what you're thinking. Mushy, that's not exactly a crime. Maybe not legally, but emotionally, I have had brilliant ideas at 3 a.m. that deserved her acknowledgement and recognition and some validation. I needed immediate acknowledgement. I needed immediate validation. I needed someone to tell me, Mushy, that's either like the greatest idea anyone's ever had, or you need to go to bed. But instead, all I get from her is silence because she's sleeping. Okay, now let me paint you a picture. Okay, it's 2:48 a.m. I've just come up with what I think is the greatest YouTube video idea in the history of the platform. I'm excited. So I message Kristyn naturally, and then I wait. 5 minutes, nothing. 10 minutes, more nothing. 30 minutes, still nothing. And, like at this point, I've convinced myself, oh no, she hates the idea. No, it just turns out she was unconscious. Imagine that. And then she has the audacity, the absolute audacity to respond at like 8:30 in the morning. 8:30. And it's usually with something cheerful like, good morning. Good morning? Good morning? Ma'am, I've already lived an entire lifetime since then. I've had 3 new ideas. I've changed my mind twice. I bought something online. I've regretted buying something online. I started another project, and I considered reorganizing my entire kitchen pantry. We're not even on the same calendar anymore. Is this alone enough evidence to cancel her? I mean, maybe not by itself, probably not. But remember, this is just the beginning, because once I started paying attention, I noticed some other things. In particular, something more alarming, far more alarming. It started innocently enough, guys. It was like just a diamond painting pen, a cute pink pen, right? No big deal. But then there was another pink thing. And then started seeing some teal. And then more pink. And before I knew it, I realized this was no accident. This was a lifestyle choice. Which brings me to Exhibit B. Pink. Okay, honestly, I don't even know where to begin with this whole pink thing. Now, I really don't want you to misunderstand me. I'm not saying pink is a bad color. I'm just saying, it exists. Unfortunately. And apparently, Kristyn took that personally. I remember the first time I noticed it. I do. She pulled out this cute little pink accessory, and I thought, oh, well, that's nice. Everybody's allowed to have like one pink thing, I guess. Who are we to outlaw pink? I feel that's a whole other video, a whole other discussion, but I feel like there's strong arguments for outlawing pink. But again, I digress. Back to Kristyn. So, everybody's allowed like one pink thing. But then she added another, and then another, and another, and another, and another, and another. Pretty soon I realized this is no kawinky dink. This is a coordinated operation. We've got pink trays, pink pens, pink storage, pink crafting gadgets, and whenever it wasn't pink, it was teal. Always with the teal. Sometimes pink and teal together. I've spent entirely too much time wondering, who decided that those 2 colors belong together? It's like cotton candy and toothpaste got married. Meanwhile, have y'all seen my craft room? If a stranger walked in here, they'd probably whisper, I think this house is haunted. Exactly. I mean, that's the aesthetic. That is intentional. If my decorating choices don't make people just a tiny bit uncomfortable, have I really decorated? Kristyn, she can walk into a Hobby Lobby and somehow find the one aisle where everything looks happy. I walk into a Hobby Lobby and immediately start looking for like skulls and crows and ravens and, gothic antique lace looking stuff. Maybe some black candles and whatnot. The Halloween decorations really get me going. And if they're out of Halloween decorations, I'm disappointed in society. Now, I will admit, once in a while, she does try to convert me. Maybe more than once in a while. She'll say, Mushy, isn't this so adorable? Now, I've learned that when Kristyn says the word adorable, I need to emotionally prepare myself, because what follows is usually a level of cuteness that borders on aggressive. We get tiny smiling animals, baby woodland creatures, flowers, butterflies, pastels, things with cute little eyelashes. Sometimes there's even glitter. Happy glitter. Not spooky glitter. Happy glitter. And she waits for my reaction. I think I just vomited in my mouth a little bit. I don't hate pink. I don't even really dislike pink. It's just not me. I fear I just lied to you all right there. I really hate pink. Pink is a spring aesthetic. It's more of like for other people, not me. Okay? I'm more of a foggy cemetery. Pink says, let's bake cupcakes. And black says, let's read ghost stories. Pink says, live, laugh, love. And black says, please knock before entering the crypt. Neither one is wrong. Also a lie. One is simply more correct. I can get behind that, I suppose. That is my professional opinion. Now, I wasn't overly concerned. I mean, not yet anyway. People like different colors. That's normal. And I figured, we could coexist peacefully. And then I discovered the Care Bear issue. Yeah. My friends, I was not prepared. I was not prepared for the onslaught of Care Bearage. Not even a little bit. Unfortunately, this is where the story takes a dramatic turn, because the Care Bears were only the beginning. There was also strawberry shortcake. This is where things become deeply concerning, because now I don't know. I mean, I don't even really know exactly when it started, and I don't know who introduced her to this life, but somewhere along the way, Crafty-ish Kristyn decided that it was her personal mission to surround herself with cuteness. And not just any ordinary cuteness. I'm talking Care Bears, strawberry shortcake, rainbow bright, happy little faces, tiny smiling animals, and everything looks like it wants to hug you. Everything. Some of you are probably sitting there thinking, okay, Mushy, come on now. What's wrong with Care Bears? Nothing. Nothing is wrong with Care Bears. I'm simply asking, why? Why? Of all the things in this big, beautiful world, ghosts, monsters, cryptids, haunted houses, spooky forests, ravens, skeletons, Halloween, horror movie killers, she chooses some cute bears? And their superpower is friendship. Can you believe that? Friendship. Of all things. How am I supposed to compete with that? Meanwhile, my decorating philosophy is, if this object might be cursed, I probably want it. Whereas Kristyn's decorating philosophy is, wouldn't this look cute on a shelf? These are fundamentally different approaches to life. Before anybody accuses of me of being unfair, I want the record to show I have attempted to appreciate these things. I really, truly have. I've looked at Care Bears, I've looked at Strawberry Shortcake, I've nodded politely, and I've even said, yep, that's certainly colorful. Because that's what friends do. They support each other and their questionable decorating choices, even when they're wrong. I'm kidding. Mostly. There have been multiple documented attempts to recruit me here as well. It usually starts with something innocent. Kristyn will send me a picture. Mushy! Look at how cute this is! Immediately, my alarm bells go off, my hackles are raised because I know what's coming. And I'll open the picture and there it'll be. The cutest thing you've ever seen. Big eyes, little smile, pastel colors, holding a flower or a cupcake, and then she waits. She waits for me to say, "Oh, how cute." Instead, I'm over here wondering, could it be haunted? Because if that bunny started blinking when nobody was looking, now we're talking. Or if that teddy bear whispered your name from across the room, I'm interested. If Strawberry Shortcake suddenly appeared in the hallway at 2 a.m., okay. That one's actually a little creepy, but I'd totally watch that movie. And in the interest of integrity, I will admit something. Sometimes I actually do think the things that she sends me are adorable. There, I said it. Just don't tell anybody, okay? I have a reputation to maintain. And if word gets out that I smiled at a bunny, my entire spooky image could collapse overnight. Listen, if anything, got out about me making that little admission, I'd have to surrender my honorary crypt membership. And we can't have that. So officially, I remain unconvinced. Unofficially, that cat canvas was kind of cute. Moving on, though. Moving on. We have filed away weaponized cuteness, and now we need to move on to a new exhibit. Just when I thought I understood the situation, right? I discovered something even more alarming, if you can believe it. It wasn't just her decor, it wasn't just the colors, it wasn't just the Care Bears. It extended to her diamond paintings. We've all seen it. My friends, we need to discuss this. The cat canvases. There are so many cat canvases, which leads me to the cat canvas conspiracy. I wish I could sit here today with you and tell you that the cat canvases were just an isolated incident. I really do. Because if there had only been one or maybe two, I could have looked the other way. I could have said, you know what? Everyone gets one cat canvas. I mean, that's totally understandable. Cats are nice. They're fluffy. They're occasionally useful. And I could have accepted one cat, maybe even two. But then there was another cat canvas and another and another and another and another. And at some point, I stopped asking, why another cat? And started asking, how many cats are enough cats? Now, before anybody gets in the comments, starts sharpening their pitchforks, I like cats. Cats are wonderful. I've had cats. I'm not an anti-cat person. This isn't anti-cat propaganda. This is anti-excessive cuteness propaganda. There is a difference because every single time, Kristyn starts a new project, I'm optimistic. Maybe this is it. Maybe today's the day. Maybe she's finally looked into the beautiful world of haunted cemeteries. Maybe there's going to be a creepy witch, a vampire, some haunted woods, maybe a spooky old mansion with mysterious glowing windows. Maybe, just maybe, she's embraced the darkness. And then she pulls out the canvas, unrolls it, and shows us. And usually, it's another cat. Not just a cat, the happiest cat you've ever seen. Smiling, surrounded by flowers and butterflies and sparkles. Probably birds singing off somewhere, just off camera. This cat has never had a bad day in its life. Meanwhile, my favorite canvases look like they haven't seen sunlight since 1847. Like, I like paintings that make people stop and ask, are you okay? That's art. Now, I will admit, Kristyn has tried, repeatedly, to broaden my horizons, if you will. She'll send me a picture. Mushy, isn't this one just so adorable? And every time I zoom in, I'm looking, I'm searching, I'm hoping maybe there's something creepy hidden inside the background. Can we get a ghost? A crow, a suspicious tree, a haunted mailbox, anything? Nothing. There's never anything there. It's always nothing. Just another happy cat. And at this point, I don't even react anymore. I just say, that's very cat. Now, in fairness, because I believe in balanced, being balanced and trying to be a little objective here, I should also tell you, she is incredibly supportive of my weirdness. She never says, Mushy, maybe don't buy the possessed scarecrow. She'll usually say something like, oh, that's cool. Which honestly is the mark of a good friend. She doesn't understand why I want a painting of a creepy little Victorian child standing in a foggy graveyard, but she does support my right to own it anyway. And I support her right to own approximately 17,000 cheerful cats, even if I don't understand it. But now, my friends, we're reaching peak concern here. Eventually, I noticed something else that kept happening over and over and over again that at first I thought was an accident. And then I realized it was intentional. It would happen when we were filming together. It happens during videos and live streams. It happens whenever there was an animal involved. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Snoot booping epidemic. I debated long and hard on whether or not to include this tea in this video, this particular sip, if you will. Because honestly, it's really, really disturbing. It's super disturbing. Some of you have young children watching, and some of you might not be emotionally prepared. But I feel like this is something we really need to discuss, right? So here we go. Kristyn has a snoot booping problem. There, I said it. It's out there. Can't close that bag once it's opened, right? It's out there. I'm not talking about one boop or two boops. I'm talking about every single snoot. Dog snoot, boop. Cat snoot, boop. Fox snoot, boop. Wolf snoot, also boop. Boop, boop, boop. Cow, it's getting a boop. Horse, say it with me, boop. If it has a nose, that woman cannot help herself. She has to boop it. Has to. Now, I didn't really notice it at first because honestly, who pays attention to snoot booping? Apparently, I do now. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. You'll be watching one of her videos and everything's perfectly normal. She's about, talking about drills and talking about colors and the artwork. And then, out of nowhere, boop. right on the snoot. No warning, no explanation, just boop. And at first I thought, that's kind of funny. What are we doing here? But then it happened again. And again and again and again. Eventually, I found myself sitting there watching the canvas thinking, there's an animal coming up. Ooh, there it is. And then the boop. Called it, nailed it. At this point, I don't even watch the artwork anymore. I'm watching the snoots. It's become kind of a sport to me. I'm over here narrating it. Golden retriever entering the frame. Kristyn's hand is moving. Oh, she's lining it up. And there's the boop. 10 out of 10. Excellent form. Perfect execution. Now, being the completely reasonable friend that I am, I start asking questions. Is there a limit to the booping? Like, is there a boop limit? Is there a species you won't boop? Would she boop a dragon? Like, from Game of Thrones? I think yes. And would she boop Bigfoot? What about Bigfoot? Dabsa-frickin-lutely. Would she boop a T-Rex? Without hesitation. Honestly, if she ever encountered a grizzly bear, my biggest concern wouldn't be the bear. It'd be that she'd walk up and say, "Aw, who's got a snoot?" Kristyn, no, we can't boop everything. There are some snoots that should remain unbooped. Although, if it was a really cute wolf, I might be persuaded to boop its snoot. Boop, boop. No, Mushy. Stay focused. This is a spilling the tea. We're spilling the tea on Kristyn. Okay. Now, in the interest of fairness, I will admit there may have been one or two occasions where I've also wanted to boop a snoot, hypothetically. If presented with an exceptionally boopable snoot, I cannot guarantee my own behavior, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about Kristyn. So that is kind of the nutshell summary of the serial snoot booping documented. And honestly, I don't think that we're done finding things about Kristyn. I don't think we're done sipping the tea, because just when I thought I'd uncovered everything, I learned something else. Something that explained so much. You guys, she voluntarily goes to Costco every single week. We need to have a conversation about this. This is the Costco Chronicles. Now, I don't even know how to begin this one, because if I hadn't witnessed it myself, I don't think I'd have believed it. Some people go to Costco like once a month. And some people, they go maybe every couple months. Some people only go when they run out of paper towels. Totally reasonable. Understandable. Normal even. But Kristyn, it seems like she's going every single week. And sidebar here, I can tell you why. I think there's like some kind of ice cream brownie situation over there that she is totally addicted to. I don't even know if she actually does any shopping there every time she goes. Sometimes I think it's just for the food court. You can quote me on that. Anyway, back to it. So what could you possibly need every like Tuesday or whatever that requires you to make a whole entire trip to Costco? Did your muffins expire? Did you run out of snacky snacks? Did the giant industrial-sized bottle of ketchup run out? Did the 437 rolls of toilet paper just disappear? I'm just trying to understand the math here, because when I go to Costco, I have to emotionally prepare myself. It's an event. It's a commitment. I hydrate beforehand. I wear comfortable shoes. My sweats. I stretch. I accept the fact that I'm going to leave with at least 3 things that I never intended to buy. Because, you guys, that's Costco. That's how they work. That's how they get you. You walk in for batteries, and sometimes you leave with a kayak and a 12-pound bag of trail mix, patio furniture, and enough snacks to survive a minor apocalypse. That's just the science of Costco. Kristyn, however, she walks in like she's coming home. I swear, the automatic doors don't even have to open. They just recognize her. Welcome back! And the employees are probably like, hey, Kristyn. And when she leaves, I'm pretty sure they're like, hey, see you next Tuesday, Kristyn. She's probably on a first name basis with the sample people. They're probably saving little cups of chicken nuggies behind the counter. Oh, Kristyn will be here in about 15 minutes. Save some aside. Now, I don't actually know if any of that is true, but in my heart, it totally feels true. And that's enough for me. Now, to be fair, Costco does have some pretty cool stuff. The bakery is dangerous. Their bread area, super dangerous too. And their rotisserie chickens, oh boy. The snack aisle, that's a financial trap. Books, I wasn't planning on buying one, and yet somehow they end up in my cart. Again, Costco has a way of convincing you that buying 37 pounds of something is actually saving money, and you walk out feeling victorious. I saved $20. Did you? Did you though? Or did you spend $200 to save that 20? We'll never know, because that is Costco math. And that's the part that really gets me. I'll be talking to Kristyn. She'll casually mention, oh, I went to Costco today. And my first thought is, weren't you just there? Apparently, yes. Yes, she was, because that was last week. This is no longer shopping. This is a lifestyle. At this point, I fully expect Costco to send her a Christmas card and maybe even a birthday card. Possibly even give her a reserved parking space. Would I be surprised if she eventually became the honorary mayor of Costco? Not even a little bit. Guys, I thought I had uncovered like the biggest differences between us so far. Pink, teal, Care Bears, cat canvases, sleeping at reasonable hours, weekly Costco pilgrimages. But then I remembered something. Something that perfectly explains why Kristyn and I are complete opposites. Horror movies. This might be the one that hurts me the most. We're going to call this the horror deficiency. This one is personal. And it's not because she's done something wrong. It's because I genuinely do not understand it. Now, if you've watched my channel for more than about, 5 minutes, you already know I like horror. Actually, that's underselling it just a little. I love horror imagery and horror movies and horror decorations. Give me haunted houses, ghost stories, creepy dolls, abandoned hospitals, foggy cemeteries, monsters, slashers, cryptids. The more unsettling the images are, the better. Halloween isn't just a holiday. It's a total personality trait. It's a decorating style. It's a lifestyle. And if a movie starts with someone saying, we should definitely split up, I am invested. Now, Kristyn doesn't exactly share my enthusiasm. I'll message her, Kristyn, you've got to watch this movie. And she'll ask, well, is it scary? Yes, that was the sales pitch. It's called a horror movie. And that's like asking if a romantic comedy has kissing or if a cooking show has food. Yes, it does. And that's why we are here. Because sometimes she'll ask, is it really gory? And I'll say, not that bad. But, about 20 minutes later, I realize our definitions of not that bad might be very, very different. To me, not that bad means only 3 people got chased through the woods. But to Kristyn, not that bad probably means nobody was emotionally traumatized. We're speaking different languages here. Now, don't get me wrong. She'll occasionally watch something spooky. And every single time, I'm hopeful. This is it. This is the one. She's finally going to embrace the darkness. Then she'll message me afterwards and be like, that was stressful. Stressful? Stressful. Come on. It was delightful. There was atmosphere and suspense. There was abandoned cabins and suspicious basements. What more could you want? Now, to be fair, I realize horror isn't for everyone. Some people like cozy mysteries and others like Hallmark movies. Some people like rom-coms. Those people are allowed to be wrong. Again, just my professional opinion. Please don't send me angry emails. Or do. I probably won't read them until like 2 a.m. anyway, so, there's that. But here's the funny part, okay? Kristyn will sometimes recommend something to me. It was such a sweet movie. Sweet? What do I do with sweet? I'm over here wondering, like, does the teddy bear become possessed at some point? No? Okay, well, then does the creepy neighbor show up? Still no? I'll keep waiting. By the credits, I'm sitting there thinking, wait, everybody survived? What a twist. Totally didn't see that one coming. But seriously, that's one of the things I love about our friendship. We genuinely like to, completely different things. We really like completely different things. And she'll send me something that makes her smile, and I'll send her something that makes her question sleeping with the lights off. And somehow, we're both convinced that we're helping the other person. She's helping me, broaden my cute horizons, and I'm helping her with finding really good movies to watch and fun images to look at. It's a win-win, right? Now, you'd think that, we've covered everything. We've talked about, the horror deficiency and pink and teal and Care Bears, cat canvases, sleeping at reasonable hours, Costco addictions. We'd finally reached like the end of everything, right? We've sipped all the tea, right? Nay, my friends, because there is one final incident that has followed me for the last couple years. And not really an incident, more of an accusation, one that I have been forced to defend over and over and over again. Friends, it's time that we're finally going to discuss the coup de grace, the sassy lassie incident. More like accusation. For the last couple years, I have lived with an accusation hanging over my head. An accusation that has followed me through conversations, live streams, messages, comments even, and frankly, I think it's time we finally addressed it. Kristyn has repeatedly claimed that I have corrupted Sassy Lassie. Apparently, I'm responsible for Sassy discovering the dark side. I'm the reason she started appreciating creepy things. I'm the reason she started looking at spooky diamond paintings. I'm the reason horror t-shirts have started showing up in Sassy's dresser drawer and closet. I'm the reason that creepy stuffed animals have suddenly become acceptable and presented in her house. And according to Crafty-ish Kristyn, none of this would have happened if Sassy had never met me. Yeah, there it is. There it is, my friends. I'd like to state, for the record, I reject these allegations completely, unequivocally, respectfully. I merely introduced Sassy to a few things, that's all. I didn't drag her into a haunted house. I simply opened the door, turned on the porch light, and said, hey, there's some really cool stuff in there if you ever feel like looking. That's it. What happened after that was entirely Sassy's decision. Now, did I occasionally send pictures of creepy diamond paintings? Maybe. And did I occasionally say, look how awesome this one is? Possibly. Did I encourage the occasional spooky t-shirt purchase? I'm going to invoke my right to remain silent on that one. But here's the thing. You can only blame me for so much. At some point, Crafty-ish Kristyn, you have to admit, She's your daughter. Now, every now and then, Kristyn will jokingly say, "You turned her." Like I run some sort of gothic recruitment program. Like, I think she envisions me standing out on street corners wearing black hoodies, whispering, "Psst, want to see a haunted scarecrow?" That's not how this works. I don't recruit. I simply appreciate. Very enthusiastically. Now, if someone happens to discover that creepy art is actually really beautiful, well, I'm certainly not going to discourage or correct them. I consider that a public service. So to that I say you're welcome, Sassy Lassie and Crafty-ish Kristyn. To be fair, let's imagine the reverse. Let's imagine Kristyn tried to convert Leah. She'll send pictures. "Look at this adorable Care Bear." Leah might smile and nod politely, appreciate that Kristyn was thinking of her, and then immediately wonder, what if that Care Bear lived in an abandoned carnival? That's just how Leah's brain works, and mine too. She can't help it. Everything eventually ends up in a fog, or with ravens, or creepy trees, or old cemeteries. We've accepted this about ourselves, Leah and I, and honestly, I think Kristyn has too. I think she's tried, or at least begun the process of trying to perhaps stop trying to convince me that pink is the answer. And I've stopped trying to convince her that every cat would look better under a blood moon. We've reached a peaceful coexistence. Now, mostly. So that is my official response submitted about the corruption of Sassy Lassie, allegations, accusations, and assertions. It's, looking back through all this, it's hard not to notice something. We've covered a lot in this video. We've covered sleeping at normal hours, pink and teal, Care Bears, strawberry shortcake, cat canvases, Costco, Snoot booping, horror movie deficiency, the Sassy Lassie corruption. And, there's a lot here. And yet, there's one thing I haven't talked about. One last thing. One thing that might actually explain why Kristyn and I have been friends for so long, despite being complete opposites. And that is because sometimes the very things that make you shake your head at your friends are also the things that make you love them the most. I think it's finally time to look at the whole picture. I know, it's been a lot, but there was a lot of tea to sip. We drank the whole pot, I think. I don't think there's a drop left. So after, sipping all the tea and spilling some and consulting only myself, I think I'm finally ready to deliver a verdict on Crafty-ish Kristyn. And that is, you guys, she's guilty of being exactly who she is. And honestly, I'm glad that she is, because here's the funny thing. If Kristyn liked everything I liked, our conversations would be boring AF. If we both decorated or did canvases, with haunted houses and crows and cemeteries, who would send me pictures of adorable little kittens wearing flower crowns and chickens and geese dressed up in cute little dresses? If I suddenly started collecting Care Bears, half of you would assume that I'd been replaced by a body snatcher, an imposter, and if Kristyn suddenly started filling her house with possessed dolls, I'd probably schedule a wellness check. Our friendship just works because we're different. She'll send me something that makes me laugh because it's ridiculously cute, and I'll send her something that makes her say, "Mushy? Absolutely not." She'll recommend something sweet, and I'll recommend something with a haunted basement. She shops for pastel craft supplies, and I wander off looking for the skulls. And she'll find a beautiful painting of a kitten surrounded by flowers, and somehow I'll locate the one painting in the entire shop store situation that looks like it escaped from a horror movie. Somehow, we both leave happy. And I think that that's really kind of cool. You know, the internet spends an awful lot of time telling us that if somebody doesn't like the same things that we like, or decorate the same way, or enjoy the same movies or hobbies, that somehow we're supposed to argue about it. And I've never really understood that. How boring would it be if every single one of us liked exactly the same thing? Then there'd be nobody to tease. There'd be nobody to laugh with. There would be no one to lovingly roll your eyes at. No one to send completely inappropriate recommendations to. And trust me, Kristyn has received her fair share of horror recommendations from me, whether she wanted them or not. Now, for anybody who runs to the comments, no, Kristyn and I are not fighting. And no, this wasn't an intervention. No, Costco has not banned her yet. And no, the Care Bears have not filed a restraining order against her yet. And as far as I know, every Snoot she's ever booped has made a full recovery. I do, however, have one final piece of, like one final drop that I want to share with you. One final drop of tea. This is the real, because behind all the jokes, behind all the teasing, and behind every comment I've made about pink, or cats, or Costco, or horror movies, is somebody that I'm incredibly thankful to call my friend. She's one of the most supportive people I have ever met. She celebrates my successes. She encourages my crazy ideas. She listens to me ramble. And she puts up with my midnight messages. And somehow she tolerates the fact that I keep trying to convince her that creepy dolls are beautiful. That is friendship. We don't have to be copies of each other. We just have to appreciate each other's weird. And I think we've done that pretty good. So, Kristyn, if you're watching this, consider yourself officially convicted of being an absolutely wonderful friend with deeply questionable decoration choices. Girl, I love you, girl. Even if I still think every cat canvas would be improved by adding a haunted cemetery in the background. And if there's one thing that I hope everybody watching takes away from this video is this. Find people who let you be unapologetically yourself. And, these are people that you can laugh with. They laugh with you. They laugh at you. You laugh at them and they let you. The people who don't try to change what makes you different. Those are the people worth hanging on to. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a feeling Crafty-ish Kristyn is probably at Costco right now, buying another cat canvas while wearing something pink and stopping every few minutes to boop innocent snoots. Some things you just have to accept. Thanks for hanging out with me today, you guys. We'll see you in the next video, unless I get distracted by a haunted scarecrow canvas first. Stay naughty!